Welcome all the new people, and good to see familiar faces as well. Okay, so we'll move straight on to our talk from Colita on talking or listening or bit of both.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Over to you.
Right, now I'm going to share my screen, so bear with me. Let's see if we can make this work and I can still make everything happen like I want it to. Here we go. Can everybody see my screen? Perfect. Excellent. Okay, so now we just hope that it's going to move over for me. Let's just see if I can make it work. Bear with me just 1 second as my computer's going, no, we don't want you to work. What can you see right now? Can you just help me out? Because all I can see is my main screen. Is that right?
We can see the power of language.
Okay, thank you for that. Right, which is great because that's what I want you to see. Okay, let's give this a go. Has it changed?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, fingers crossed then. On top of the jagged cliff, she looked around, taking in the natural beauty, the depth of the soft green grass, the fauna and flora all around her. Little yellow and white flowers dotted amongst the pinks and the purples and the greens and the browns. Lifting her eyes upwards, she took a deep breath. She noted the perfectly blue sky with the odd fluffy white cloud just passing by. Feeling the warmth of the orange sun caressing her cheeks, taking a deep breath in, she could taste the salty air as her gaze grew to the horizon, the silvery blue and white ocean stretching out in front of her as far as her eyes could see, blending with that perfect skyline. The wind whistling across the cliff top, singing its tune, glancing across her eyes like a paintbrush, creating that teary effect. You know the one. She was safe up here at the very top of the cliff top, not too close to the edge, the green, lush grass beneath her feet, keeping her stable. Every now and again, she would shuffle forward, trying to see over the edge, hearing the rhythmic crashing of the waves, whispering messages from the deep far below. But quickly she stopped herself and pulled back. It was scary over the edge. It was dangerous, the unknown. Far better to stay safely back from that high, steep edge than fall. Safer to stay put than risk that fall. That certain danger, she was adamant it was true. Time and time again, she quietly shuffled forward and asked inside herself, but what am I missing? What if there's a whole new world of opportunity? Nope, back we go. So she sat and took another deep breath. And once again, she shuffled forward, peeking slightly over, hearing that internal chatter, and then she felt the shove. Every time you open your mouth, you are influencing people positively and negatively. You are making people think and encouraging them to respond in good and potentially bad ways. Language plays an incredibly important part in our lives, both personally and professionally. And we use it to describe the world around us, to describe where we have come from, where we are going, and who we are. Have you ever considered that consciously choosing the language you use could lead to perhaps better health, increased energy, and greater success, both professionally and personally? Let me give you an example. You've had a few days off from the office, you are well rested, you've eaten healthily and exercised, and you bump into a friend who says, "Are you okay? You look tired." Suddenly, your eyelids feel heavy and you question internally, "Am I tired?" You go inside yourself to check. Perhaps actually you feel a little bit insulted because actually you felt great. You see, language can be used in a number of ways. It can be used to intimidate, to inspire, to inform, to innovate and influence both our inner world and our outer world. And the power of your language is so much more than just the words you use. Take, for example, the words you choose to describe yourself. If I asked you to introduce yourself to the group, what words would you use? Maybe you'd like to pop in a singular word in the comments. The first word that you thought of when I asked that question to describe yourself. Feel free, if you want to pop a word in that comment box, and tell me. Now think about that word. And the problem is I can't see the chat right now, which is not helpful. But think about that word. Is it the words that describe what you do, or the words that describe who you are? And the reason why I'm asking you this is because the words you externally use influence how you are internally. So the language you share without, you also share within. The language and the stories we tell ourselves to the world contribute significantly to the way we see the world. And more importantly, these words contribute to our own sense of value, confidence, and self-worth. We must also remember that it isn't just words that make up our communication. There is so much more than the words we say. Our tone, our bodies, our faces. For instance, if I don't like something, no matter the words I tell you, you will know. This face will tell you a completely different story if I don't like it. Even though I've gone, yes, it's lovely, my face will give you a whole different message. I want you to consider for a moment the power of your intention. How do you want others to perceive you? How do you want people to see you? What language could you use? Set your intention, take your thoughts, and put your energy towards actively noting the words you use. Start to describe yourself as you want to be known, seen, or perceived, both professionally and personally. Consider how you want to be described. Are you the party animal, the font of all knowledge, the business whirlwind, the success coach, the ultimate one? Or are you the mood hoover, the nightmare boss, the quiet one, the awkward one? Which would you prefer? And what do you give out in the world? I am. This is such a powerful statement. And when you first saw this statement appear on your screen, what's the first thing that popped into your head? Was it, I am awesome, I am amazing, I am successful, I am beautiful, I am fulfilled, I am peaceful, I am capable? Or I wonder if the words were a little more negative. I'm a fake, I'm not worthy, I'm not good at networking, I am nowhere near as good as everyone else on that screen, I'm a rubbish partner, I am a rubbish parent, I'm uneducated, I'm pathetic. When I changed the words from positive to negative, how did it feel for you? Did you notice a shift in yourself? Did you notice how my tone changed when all of a sudden I was being a bit naughty to myself? Because remember, my brain was taking in those words that I was saying, not caring about the rest of you, with all due respect, is thinking it's talking about me. How did they sound to you, honestly? And which bracket, honestly, do you sit in? The positive or the negative? The language you use to identify yourself, or sometimes even others, has a massive effect on how you feel. Have you ever used the I'm not good enough statement out loud or even in just your head? Has it stopped you from achieving something or going for that promotion or that new client or that new project? You see, these are often beliefs that we hold and create our reality. We tell ourselves that we're not good enough, and then we act as if they are true. So how could you counteract this? The first question you have to ask yourself is this statement really empowering you? And what evidence do you have to back this statement up? What evidence do other people have that counteract this statement yours? More often, people see us completely different to how we see ourselves. Why not ask somebody else that you trust? Ask someone if they agree with you, that negative voice that's going on in your head. You know, your brain is designed to protect you and it wants to serve you and keep you safe. So if you use negative statements about yourself, it will look for that evidence. So if you use positive statements, it will do the same. By telling yourself you are awesome, and sometimes this can be really hard, and even if it's just a whisper, by telling yourself you're awesome and confident, your brain will start to look for the evidence to support this thought. Just sharing positive statements to yourself every day can help change your perspective, your world, and actually people start to notice. And how you share that statement, it could be a post-it note on the fridge, it could be a reminder in the bathroom window, It could just be something on your mobile that goes, do you know what? You, my friend, are awesome. It could make a whole world of difference. Now, Tony Robbins said, whatever you focus on is what you get. And I wonder if you give a little exercise a go for me. Please, if you've got a bad back or a bad shoulder, then maybe refraining from joining in, but I want you to have a go. If you're up for playing with me, give me a nod because I can see some faces. You fancy having a go? Okay, perfect. And my disclaimer is that I'm not going to be blamed for anybody hurting themselves, okay? So don't poke yourself in the eye or something. I want you to take your right hand and I want you to create a point with your finger. And then I want you to put it out in front of you so it's level with you. Keeping your body facing forward, I want you to point behind you as far as you can without it being uncomfortable, and just take a note of how far you pointed so I can see that I'm kind of on my bookshelf. And then bring your hand back. And now what I want you to do is just have a shake it off, just like that. Perfect. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to once again create that point in front of you. Point it in front of you once again, repeating the same thing, but this time I want you to say to yourself, I can point further. I can point further. I can point further, and see how far you can do it. Now, I've near enough gone right behind me this time. Is it the same for you? Shake it off, put your hands down, give your muscles a rest. By adding a small supportive statement, you are able to point further. So imagine if you told yourself you were able to go further in your job, in your role, with your family, with your relationship. Imagine if you told yourself you can when pitching for a new client or a bigger contract. What results could you see if your internal language became positive and you supported yourself with, I can? 2 simple words, not a hard exercise, but did it make a difference, I question. So, as an NLP master practitioner, and NLP is one of the tools that I use when I work with my clients. Language is at the forefront of working with my clients. I work with teams, businesses, and individuals. I teach people how to think differently, helping them with their communication, sales, confidence, anxiety, removing phobias, negative mind chatter, and much, much more. But many people ask me, well, that's great, but what is NLP? Let's see if I can help you with that. NLP stands for Neuro-Linguistic Programming, and I can only describe it as a manual for the mind, a methodology to understand and help change human behavior patterns. These patterns are otherwise known as programs, and let me break it down a little bit more for you. N stands for neuro, so that is our mind and the nerve communication network in our bodies through which our experience is processed via our 5 senses, so our visual, so we see stuff, auditory, so we hear stuff, our kinesthetic, so we feel stuff, our olfactory, we taste stuff, and our gustatory, olfactory, so we smell stuff, and gustatory, we taste stuff, so our main 5 senses. The neuro is how we process what we experience, how we feel about our experiences, how we store our experiences, how we access our storage systems, how we can change how we process to change how we feel. Our linguistic, the L, is the language you use to speak to yourself and others, and other non-verbal communication systems through which our neural representations are ordered, coded, and give meaning, including those pictures, sounds, feeling, tastes, and smells, and words, or our self-talk. It's the impact of language, the information and thoughts we have, and how we communicate with ourselves and how we communicate with other people, both the spoken and the unspoken, hence my place. The P stands for programming, so the operating instructions that we run that create a specific and desired outcomes, the strategies we use, the habits we have, what we do to get what we want, the process and patterns used in any field to achieve outstanding results. So how to change your own processes and patterns to achieve what we want quicker, more efficiently, and with a sense of ease. NLP practitioners like myself harness the power of language to break down the mental barriers that we unknowingly create for ourselves, and we all do it, me included. Because of this, NLP is considered to be one of the most useful and accessible tools to come from modern psychology. NLP is used to assist the development of stress management, improving feelings of empathy, removing destructive relationship patterns, and so much more. NLP is used to teach us how changing the way we perceive the world can lead us to adjust and adapt our behaviours in order to live the life we dream of. An NLP coach like myself will work to encourage the client to move out of their comfort zone, breaking barriers, more often ones that we've put in place ourselves, and taking chances only to help you develop a fuller, happier, and infinitely more satisfying life. So the NLP Communication Model, and I don't want to blow your brains because I haven't got time today, but this is kind of the basis of where NLP sits, and I'm going to try and explain what it is. So all NLP is based on the communication model, and I hope that this will make sense for you. If you look to the in front of the lovely head that I've got, we have an external event and information. And when I learned about this communication model in my training, it started to really help me truly understand what was going on in my mind and gave me a chance to change things in my world. And I share this model with all my coaching clients. And when you understand NLP, and it doesn't have to be a huge amount, and it starts to make sense, you can start taking control of yourself and getting results. So events happen outside of us. We know they happen through one of our 5 senses, as I mentioned before. It's suggested that at any given moment at a time, we are subjected as human beings to 3, 4, 5 or more million bits of information. That's a lot of data for us to process. The problem is the human mind can only cope with, some say, 7 plus or minus 2 parts of information at a time before it's like, can't cope anymore. So what happens is the information comes in through the external events and information, and it passes through filters in our brain. And our brain then decides to delete, distort, or generalize that data. The first thing it does is filter that information and delete everything that's unnecessary. So let's try another quick exercise. I'll give you 20 seconds. And what I want you to do is I want you to count how many black things that you can see in your space around you, okay? So I want you to see how many things you can see in black, and you've got 20 seconds. Go. And then when you've got a number, now give me a number in the chat. How many have you got? Let's see, and I found the chat box now. Oh, 20, awesome, 17. Now, of course, we're not all looking at the same thing, so it's going to vary quite a lot. 18, 13, 14, perfect. But here's the actual question. How many blue things are in your room? Now, this is what your mind does. You asked your mind to focus on something black. So therefore, your mind will find everything black, but delete everything else. It's not needed for this task. We just wanted black. And what it does is it deletes everything that's relevant. Another example of deletion is that feeling of being sat on a chair listening to me speak. Your mind doesn't require you to focus on the sensation of your thighs on your chair or your feet on the floor. But actually, now I've brought it into your conscious awareness, you might be thinking, oh, actually, yeah, I'm a little bit uncomfortable in my chair. I can feel it. And this is what our brain does. Our mind will then distort that data that it's keeping. It can morph stuff, it can change it, and then it can generalize it. And on goes the change of thinking that attaches itself to the event that came in through the brain. And you see what it does is it bases its details on the values and the beliefs and the times and the space, the language, our memories, our upbringings, our religion, all sorts of things affect what it's going through in those filters. So, for example, you know, you've had a tough day in work, you get home, you walk through the front door and you can hear holy matrimony going on in another room in the house. And you've had a bad day, you don't want the stress of the kids, your husband is clearly shouting, or your partner, whatever, the dog is barking, you can hear smashing, there's clattering, there's all sorts of stuff going on, and your head generalizes, oh, I don't want to go in there today. I think I might just either retreat or I'll go upstairs and hide. You see, you've processed that this is something happening, you've experienced it before, and you don't want to go through it again. So you flitter through those filters in your mind and think, I'm not walking in there. I'm just going to go and hide upstairs in the shower for an hour and get out the way till it calms down. And anybody who's got children like I have, they will totally understand where I'm coming from. If we were so able to hide in the shower for an hour, that's a joke. Anyhow, When it goes through our filters, it creates an internal representation, a bit like a symbol or a color or something like that, which then is inside your mind, and it then affects your emotional state, which can lead to your physiology and eventually your behavior. So for instance, if I walk in and there's World War III going off, immediately my internal representation is, oh Lord, here we go. What am I going to have? Do I need boxing gloves? You know, am we going to have to remove technology? What's happening with the children? My state is all of a sudden gone from, oh great, I've had an all right day, to, oh, my shoulders might fall in, which is my physiology. My breathing might change. My heart might start pumping. My behavior, all of a sudden, I'm going in armed for a fight. Many times, our brain can create these, every time. It's doing this all the time, and we're not even consciously aware of it. And many times with these representations, there can be room for error, or they can become unhelpful. And as an NLP practitioner, I help people change these internal representations. And, you know, let me show you an example of brain distortion, for instance. How many of you can read this? Have you got it? Can you read it? I've got some nods happening. A little example of our brain distorting and how letters can be moved around, and yet our brain can still make sense of it. And all we're doing is becoming more consciously aware with NLP and helping to notice what our patterns are, how our brain is capable, and then making more helpful changes to assist us in the future. So again, do you fancy a bit of a little exercise with me, something to test your brain? Because the best way for me to demonstrate the power of your mind is to share this little exercise with you, if you're game. Everybody game? Pop it in the comments, yes or no. I can see some nods, got some thumbs up, perfect. Okay, so have you ever found yourself telling yourself off in your head? Okay, I'm not outing anybody, you don't have to tell us, it's perfectly fine because we all do it. So I'd like you to think about something minor negative, I don't want you all to be depressed and leave here feeling really distraught and horrible, just a minor negative thought that maybe you'd say to yourself. For instance, mine, Colita, you really are a muppet. I want you to notice how that sentence plays out in your head. What are the words that you hear? Notice how it makes you feel. Notice the volume. Is it loud? Is it soft? Notice the speed. Notice, does it give you any sensations? Notice the emphasis. Is it a statement or a question? So for me, my voice is, oh, you are such a muppet. It's more of a statement. It puts me down. It makes me feel a bit crappy. And actually, it's not very pleasant. But I regularly call myself a muppet. That's what goes on in my head. Everybody got some sort of negative statement? Let me know. Give me a thumbs up or a yes or something in the comments. Perfect. So notice all of the things that come along with that sensation. Now, please, I'm aware that this is not comfortable. So now you've got that, just park it for a minute because we're going to change it. Now I'd like you to think of a character. So somebody that makes you laugh. Now, it could be human or it could be a cartoon character. For instance, I've got Mickey Mouse up here because he's got a really cute voice. So I want you to think of a character that makes you laugh. Think about their voice. Think about what you're visioning in your mind, what they look like, you know, how their body language is. And now I want you to take that negative statement and I want you to hear it in that character's voice. So tell me, which character are you choosing? So for instance, my son picked Peter Griffin when he did this, which I thought was brilliant. Have you got any characters? Let's see who you've got. Think of somebody that makes you laugh. And it doesn't have to be a person. It could be a character from a cartoon. It could be something you love. Let me know. Sergio the meerkat. Perfect. Yes. Awesome. I might have to steal that one. That's an awesome one. Anybody else got another character that they can share with me? Let's see. My dog. Perfect. Brilliant. Funny enough, one of my characters is Odie, Bob Mortimer. Awesome. Great choice. Odie from Garfield, that happy dog with his tongue hanging out. I know dogs don't speak, but actually if they did speak, they would kind of have a cool voice, wouldn't they? So what I want you to do is think about this character. Think about how it makes you laugh. And now I want you to say that negative statement in their voice. So for me, Lee Evans, perfect. Lee Evans is brilliant with his big ears and his whatever coming out. And I want you to say that negative statement in their voice. And I want you, if need be, to speed up their voice. And notice how suddenly it makes you change, and how you notice how suddenly you start to feel a bit different. So for me, when I took I am a Muppet and turn it into something Odie might say, I'm a Muppet, I'm totally a Muppet, but it's okay being a Muppet. All of a sudden, it doesn't feel so bad. And actually, I laugh at myself because it's ridiculous. And it's so easy just to change your brain's connotation of that negative sentence. So give it a go, just see, and just tell me, has it taken the edge off that negative feeling, how it felt being just a couple of seconds ago where you were telling yourself off? Because if you notice, all you need is a moment to interrupt the pattern you were running. And it is really important, if you can notice the difference when the changes in the voice, how it can affect you, you can then be in control of you, and then you can influence your results. And sometimes it takes a bit of practice. And actually, sometimes if it's a really damning voice, you really have to ask it to shut up. But if you can give it a character, all of a sudden it makes it feel a little bit better. So despite talking about language, there's some watchwords that I'm going to add with you today, and some awesome add-ons that you can add to your language and just be mindful of. Because watchwords in our language, these are confidence killers without you even realizing it. So the first word that is one that I'd like you to watch is why. More so when you're asking a question of somebody else. So in an office environment or working with other people, why, this word elicits emotional responses, excuses, and reasons why not. The person has to go inside to find an answer to your question. Why did you do that? For that, or why did you tell the client that? All of a sudden, this is an emotionally charged question. And sometimes emotionally charged questions can be helpful, but more often not. It's more helpful to get to the facts and the information without the emotion getting involved. So use why with caution. For example, why did you tell the client that? It's like a blaming question, whereas actually what specifically made you ask that of that client? The what question gives you facts and detail, and then you can carry on with the conversation. The next one to consider is but. But is considered to be a big eraser, rubber. To the unconscious mind, the word but deletes everything that comes before it. And this leaves the unconscious mind focusing on anything that comes after the but. So use the word and instead of it. So the unconscious mind is listening to the whole sentence. Imagine this, that dress looks really nice on you, but, of course I love you, but, yes, we can do that, but you're waiting for the, oh. So if you can, get out the habit of using but and use and to continue your sentence. Because it just means that even if you're giving them the most brilliant feedback, you were awesome with that client, but we could have had more donuts. They won't hear the fact they were awesome. Oh God, I didn't get enough donuts for the boss. It's just a simple little word, but it can make such a difference. Try. This word implies the possibility of failure to the unconscious mind. I suppose I could try and make that call. Already my body language is going, I suppose I could try. I'll give it a go. I'm already in my head thinking, I'm going to fail. What's the point? As Yoda said, do or do not. There is no try. Should. On a recent phone conversation with a client, I heard I should go to bed earlier. I know I should meditate. I should probably cut out sugar. I shouldn't drink as much wine. My client was basically shoulding all over themselves. This basically means you're creating a whole ton of pressure on yourself to do or be something based on what you think you're supposed to do or be, rather than who you are and what you want. I should eat better. I should exercise. I should go to bed. Unfortunately, most of us regularly rehash our perceived poor choices and beat ourselves up over something that happened in the past and that we can't change. I'm sure it's not news to you that this is not helpful. We tend to be so much harder on ourselves than we would on those we care about. And if they were faced with the similar situation, ask yourself, how would I respond if someone else had made this mistake or, hadn't gone to bed early? Experiment with applying the same approach you would offer to another to you in your life. This can help you recognize your own humanity, release judgment, and open to forgiveness for yourself. Another way to release those I should haves or I shouldn't haves is to practice self-forgiveness. Just be kind to yourself. Practicing self-forgiveness allows you to let go of your mistakes and self-judgment and move on more productively. It could be as simple as saying, I forgive myself and I'm ready to move on. Changing that language, dropping that should. I forgive myself for, fill in whatever. Shitting all over yourself sucks. It breeds shame and it feels awful. But it also actually keeps you from making positive changes. Try using more accurate and positive, powerful phrases like I want, I can, and I will. Wish. Sometimes we all wish, but quite often we're wishing for something that hasn't happened or we don't even believe is going to. I wish I could have a day off. We don't believe it's ever going to happen. And as much as it's nice to have wishes, don't use it in language to beat yourself up, because we're all great at doing that and finding the excuse to find it. Awesome add-ons are far better. How about using words that add and build confidence and empower you or others? Yet, the power of yet. You know what? Yet, I haven't won that client yet. I haven't succeeded to finish my job yet. All of a sudden, it feels more powerful. All of a sudden, it feels like actually yeah, I can do it. Maybe not, I'm not quite there, but I can do it. It instills confidence. That's okay. It's another great sentence to add on to the end. Just allow yourself to say it's okay, because actually it is okay. And when we add a sentence where we're feeling a bit negative about ourselves, I've been absolutely useless in the office today, but that's okay. We all have down days. Give yourself permission. Absolutely. It's a confident word. It empowers you. I absolutely can do that job. You absolutely can get that client. Without a doubt. Definitely. Certainly. Sure. All of these powerful words. Of course. Naturally. Undoubtedly. Guaranteed. Notice how these powerful words can make you feel empowered and energized. And imagine what they could do to help your outcomes if you just started using a few more of them in your language. So as she shuffled forward, trying to see over the edge of the jagged cliff, she felt the shove. She fell forward, the land beneath her no longer there. As her feet left the safety of the green grass and the wide expanse of the cliff top drop opened up beneath her, she opened her wings and she flew. Allow yourself the chance to fly. Notice how your language can make a difference in your life. Just a few small tweaks here and there can make amazing changes. I've been Colita Dainton, the Success Coach, helping people think differently. And if I can help you fly, absolutely do reach out. Definitely get in touch. And I know you can succeed. And please remember, we're all doing the best we can with the resources we have. Thanks for listening. If you want to connect with me, come and find me on social media. I'm Litabix. Check out my website. And if I can help you with your language, please do get in touch. Ta-da! That's me done.
Great. Thank you so much.
I'll stop sharing. Hang on. Let me stop this share. There we go. How's that?
Thank you so much. I'm sure everyone else appreciated that. I must stop shoulding all over the place.
Yes, please do.
Is my takeaway for today. That's brilliant. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I'm conscious that we are on the 2 o'clock and we do need to finish, but thank you so much. Please do share the talk with everyone. I will get it onto YouTube later on today and I'll give everyone an email. But those who've missed it, I'm sure you know someone who could do with listening to today's talk from Colita. But Colita, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you everyone for attending and we'll see you all hopefully very soon. Our next meeting here will be on the 10th of November, but everyone keep safe and we'll see you soon. Thank you.
Take care. Thank you.